Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this video is going to be a full day of eating on a diet, on a rest day, and no cardio. So on Wednesdays, I don't do any cardio. I literally just do my steps. So it's roughly around 12 and a half to about 15. Usually I go to about 15 because I just always like to go to the top end if I can. So I'm just going to run through exactly what I eat. So far, I've already woken up. Well, to be honest, the weather was against me this morning, so usually I get up and get out for a walk right away. But I always have at least half of one of these the minute I wake up. Water, sometimes I have sugar-free juice in it as well, most of the time, to be honest, because I'm not a massive fan of water. I love bottled water, but just not tap water. I'm not buying that all the time. So I have one of those. I also have a drink with glutamine in it and creatine, so 5 grams of each every single day. Regardless if I'm training or not. That's what I do first thing in the morning. Usually I then go out for a walk and then I'll get into work with a coffee when I get back. Usually on a rest day, I will push back my first meal. Whereas on a training day, I usually eat about 6:15 pre-workout, which I'll do another, full day of eating on a training day if people want to see that. So today I'll run through like things like how much volume I'm getting for my calories, meal timings, hunger, how am I getting on with my diet. I'll run through all that kind of at the same time I'm making my meals, if I remember. And hopefully you'll enjoy it and it'll give you a little bit of insight of how I kind of manage a calorie deficit. I've been dieting now for 7 weeks. I've lost about 4.5 kg. And the goal really is just to kind of chip away a couple more weeks. I'm off to New York at the 1st of May. So I want to be kind of making as much headway as I possibly can till that point. And then I'm going to take off the rest of the year from dieting. And then I might do a photo shoot later, kind of next year or even late next year. I want quite a bit of time away from dieting. I haven't dieted since last June. So this one's a bit of a mini diet. We're not pushing it too far. But to be honest, my body needs pushing in order to lose weight. And I'm not going to, shy away from that and tell you it's easy and tell you need to eat, you can't eat lower food. You definitely do. Some people do anyway. And the more you do it mentally, it's easier. But physically, I definitely think it's harder. And this diet has proved that. I'd really love it if you follow along. So remember to hit that subscribe button, drop a comment as well of anything you want to see or that would help you while you're dieting right now. Other than that, let's get into this full day of eating on a rest day. The weather's actually calmed down a little bit, so I thought I'd get out and get on my walk, and I thought I'd touch on meal timings and how that affects hunger, because honestly, people could tell the time of when I eat. Our bodies really do adapt to timing, so if we're constantly eating at the same time every single day, you can preempt that hunger and actually stall it instead of just going off your hunger cues all the time. Especially in a diet, you don't want to leave it too long and then you're absolutely ravenous, and then when you do eat, the food that you're eating just doesn't touch the sides. So what I would do if I was you, if you don't have regular meal timings, is create them. So for me, on a rest day, I'll always push my meal back to about 9, 9:15, and then I'll have lunch about 1, 1:30, and that's the same on a rest day and a training day. Same for my snack and same for my evening meal. They're all the same. The only difference on a rest day compared to a training day is I'll have my normal breakfast on a rest day. Whereas on a training day, I'll have my pre-workout meal before I go. I'll train, and then I'll have my post-workout meal afterwards. It also takes out the decision making. Most people don't stick to a diet because they're making too many decisions every single day. Honestly, just take away all those things by having structure and routine. If you don't know, I used to be in the army, so I'm very regimented, but honestly, it massively works. To chop and change everything to me just makes things 10 times harder, and then I won't stick to things. I'll touch on a few more topics as we go through the day, but for now, I'm going to get my steps in, and then when I get back, I'll show you exactly what I'm having for my rest day breakfast. Bloody hell, that walk was not enjoyable. I bloody hate the wind, but luckily I've got back and now it's hailstoning. We're bloody coming into April. How is it still hailstoning? Anyway, on to breakfast. So I always have lower calories at breakfast just because I prefer a little bit more in the evening / in the afternoon. And when I'm busy with work, it's pretty easy to stick to. So for breakfast, I've got eggs, egg whites, some raspberries on the side, and some tomatoes. Something I always do is add egg whites into my eggs for breakfast because like an egg or 2 eggs isn't enough protein. in one meal, otherwise you're going to be struggling for the rest of the day. If you're someone who's struggling with fibre, top tip is make sure you've got raspberries in your diet, because they're really good for fibre intake, so obviously digestion. One thing I do with my raspberries, I don't like to kind of heat them up too much, especially using frozen ones, and I don't really like fresh ones, is I just leave them on the side whilst I'm making my breakfast, so they kind of, you know, not freezing when you do then eat them. So I just have 100 grams, I'll keep them on the side. If they're still absolutely freezing when my breakfast is ready, I'll just whack them in the microwave for like 30 seconds. I actually quite like them cold. So 100 grams of these, and then I've got 1 egg and some egg whites. So my breakfast is definitely on the lower calorie side of things, just because that's what I prefer, that's what I can stick to. Remember, dieting for you might be different. You might get really hungry in the morning, you might need more food in the morning. For me personally, I'm super busy with work. I'm super busy with work, so I just eat it, move on. Like, too many people fixate on having, you know, decent amount of food in every single meal, but actually then you could be suffering later down the line. Something I've started having recently is coconut oil. It just makes things taste super, super nice, and obviously your eggs then don't get stuck to the pan. I get egg whites from a carton, but I also use normal eggs and just separate them. The reason for this is because I think you get a lot more volume and they whisk better, taking the eggs out of full eggs. Whereas this, I feel like it doesn't give you as much volume, and I'll show you kind of what I do with that. So I'm just going to separate all these and then add in an egg. And then when I'm hitting the close to my number, so it's 150 grams, I'll use the carton to top it up, because one more egg white from eggs will go over it. Boom, 150 on the nose. Even for things like low calorie things, it's important to make sure that you're still being picky with kind of making sure you're hitting the numbers. I'm not bothered about like a gram here and there, whatever, but if you're someone who's like letting 10 grams slide here, 10 grams slide there, it soon all adds up throughout the day and throughout the week. So just be picky, and then you know you're doing everything you can to make sure you're staying in your deficit. So while that's heating up, I'll just get my tomatoes. Again, I still weigh them out regardless, even though they're low calorie. And I got 70 grams of this. I just track everything on my MyFitnessPal. Super simple. I whisk this a little bit more because I like having my eggs a little bit crispy on the outside. And as long as you make your meals taste nice, honestly, rinsing and repeating them and having them so basic, like how basic is this, in my opinion, but it tastes bloody lovely. Like, too many people want things to look fancy, and to me, this is great. To other people, it might be a bit boring, but okay. So while that's cooking, I'll flip it over in a minute, and then I'll add in the tomatoes. Whilst that's cooking, I just want to have a little touch on kind of protein and spreading your protein out through the day. Like, some people really struggle to hit their protein, and you shouldn't really, as long as you're eating like whole foods, and you'll see today how I do that. But if you're not having like a staple amount of protein in each meal, you're definitely going to struggle later in the day, but you're also going to struggle with hunger, because protein is so good for filling you up there and then, but also keeping you full as well. So definitely make sure you're having a quality amount, a decent amount of protein in each meal. And that will just make sure you're also regulating that hunger. So whilst that's on, I'm going to pop these in the microwave, but I won't set them to go yet. I'll set them to go when the eggs are nearly done. Just like to do 2 things at once, you know, keep it busy. The other thing I make sure I do when I'm eating is I'm present when I'm eating. I'm not doing something else. Yeah, I might watch a little bit of YouTube or something like that, but I'm not doing work at the same time, just to make sure that when I am having my meals, I am enjoying them. Because otherwise, you know, when you're dieting, you're not getting a massive amount of food anyway. So if you're kind of allowing the meals to come in without really noticing, you're not acknowledging how much you are enjoying it. So once this is a little bit crispy, I'll show you. Once it does this, like starts crisping off, you want to fold it over, and that's going to give you a nice like crispy edge. I'll show you now. Like this. The coconut oil helps with that as well. And while that's flipped over, I just bang in the tomatoes. So in this meal alone, I've got literally 200 calories. 200 calories for breakfast, and now I won't eat for a few more hours. And then my lunch will be a little bit bigger, then I'll have my snack, and then my evening meal is going to be bigger than that. So I'm going to finish cooking this, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done, because I'm not one of those people who's going to have it cooked and then talk and let it go cold. I want it nice and fresh. So I'll wrap up this little conversation here. I'll show you the finished product in a minute. I mean, it's not going to be glorious, is it? It's not MasterChef, but it does taste good. Oh, quickly, just one other thing. I make sure I salt all my meals. Just again, I like to make sure things are just consistent every single day. So it's up to the office now and watching a little bit of YouTube, and then I'll get back to work and I'll see you at lunch. So that's work block 2 wrapped up. Routine is something big for me. So now it's kind of downstairs, make lunch, kind of scramble things together that I've already either pre-cooked. So my chicken sausage are already pre-cooked. My cucumbers already pre-cut. I'm just going to whack on an egg and some more plum tomatoes and throw it all together with some Snacker Jacks. So I'm not going to show you me kind of cooking everything again. I'm just going to throw it all together and then give you the kind of the finished product. After that, it's second coffee, and then back into kind of work block number 3, which is going to be kind of training footage for my clients. And they come in on a regular basis, so I'm kind of just chipping away at them as and when they come through. And then later on, I've got some more editing to do. Wednesdays are a real good day for me to do videos like this, because I don't have a lot of check-ins. I just have like 4 or 5 check-ins today. Main bulk of check-ins get done on a Monday and a Tuesday. So Wednesday is going to kind of be my staple day, hopefully, to continue with these YouTube videos. So hopefully you're enjoying it so far, and I'll show you the finished lunchtime product. As you can see, I've already got my cucumbers chopped off. Do that the night before. Rice cakes, obviously just straight out the packet. And actually, while I'm on the topic of planning and prepping things, this is all ready to rock and roll in the morning for my gym session. So I've got my pre-workout, intra-workout, pre-workout, which will go in the fridge later, and my post-workouts in my bag already. So it's just makes things super, super simple in the morning. I'm just getting up and I'm just on autopilot. That way, I'm not overthinking about anything. It's literally all ready to rock and roll. Everything's tracked the night before or days in advance as well. Everything's prepped the night before or days in advance, or I bulk cook things like chicken sausage will get bulk cooked, chicken will get bulk cooked, sweet potatoes, and then we cook our evening meal fresh. So I'm lucky that my girlfriend cooks it, because I work a little bit later than her, so she'll come home from work and cook it, but I'll show you that later. Maybe not her cooking, but I'll show you kind of what we make on an evening, because we eat different things as well. She's dieting out in a minute as well, so we're both in a calorie deficit, but I'll show you both of them, to be honest, so you can see that it's actually okay to eat your own food and not stress that you have to eat the same as everybody else in your house. And there you have it, a big plate of basically everything: cucumber, tomatoes, an egg, 4 hex sausages, 3 sour cream Snacker Jacks, and a little bit of mustard and a little bit of protein Philadelphia. So it's about 360 calories and 35 grams of protein with plenty of volume. And I think having little bits like this, you know, bit like a picnic style lunch, I feel like feels like a lot of food, even though it actually is quite low calorie. So I'm gonna pop back upstairs, put a little bit of YouTube on again and finish off the video whilst I have this and enjoy it, and then I'm back downstairs to make a coffee after. Right, I'm back in the kitchen for snacks. That comes around about 3:30, 4 o'clock. So today it's 3:20, but I need to put this creamy in water. If you've got a Ninja Creamy and you don't put it in water first, start doing it, because if you don't, it gets stuck to the outside. Whereas if you leave it in water for, like me personally, pedantic, 8 minutes. So I'll whack it in for 8 minutes, and then I'll test it to see if it pours out. I'll show you in a minute when the 8 minutes is up. But what I do the night before is 25 grams of whey protein, with 200 ml of almond milk. And then I just have this like lukewarm, and then I'll just fill it so it's like to about here, and then I'll just whack it in for 8 minutes. So just make sure you put it in the freezer the night before. And this is like a game changer when it comes to volume. So just want to touch on volume eating while this is filling up. So a lot of people think you can't get a lot of food for low calories, but you can definitely do it if you're kind of planning things out. So you just want to make sure you've got protein in every single meal, you've got fruit and veggies in every single meal, you're using foods that give you the most bang for buck. So things like potatoes is a lifesaver. Whole foods in terms of chicken breast, instead of picking up chicken breast that's packaged, you'll get a lot for that. Using chicken breast instead of chicken thighs. Rice cakes, they're going to be better than like pasta. And then just not using calories on liquids is a big thing. I don't use any, other than obviously almond milk or anything like that, but I don't really use calories on liquids, sauces, stuff like that. I have a little bit, mustard, mayo, those sort of things, but nothing that's going to take out a big chunk of my calories. My 8-minute timer has now gone off, but a good like indication of it's ready, it should slide down like this. If it's like you leave it in too long, it'll start to go watery. So the setting I put it on is 4 minutes for ice cream light, which I'll show you now. That's the first setting, so we've got about another 4 or 5 of these because you have to keep respinning it. So it just looks like this initially, and then I'm going to add in my blueberries. I don't know about anyone else, but I always have the same spoon, the same spoon for like my ice cream, and then I'll have a different one for other things because I'm weird like that. The ADHD in me that I've self-diagnosed. So blueberries is 100 grams, but you can just put whatever you can kind of fit in. I do raspberries sometimes as well, but my favorite is a vanilla protein with blueberries. So we'll see how this comes out. So I just make a hole in the middle, whack in the 100 grams of blueberries. So first one is full mixing, which is 2 minutes. So that's the first mixing done, and it'll start to look like this. So I'm just going to repeat it now of respins. So I'm going to do 3 to 4 respins. I'll go bottom, top, full, and then full again. And then it should be done. I'll let you know what it comes out like, but usually that comes out really well. So you just want to make sure in between your respins that you are folding it through, so you're not respinning the same thing each time. And we're done. I'll put that method on screen so you can actually see it, because I know it definitely works, because you can see now how much volume I've got there. Look at the size of it is, and it's literally 170 calories, something like that, and 22-ish grams of protein. Massive, massive snack. So I'm going to go and enjoy this again with more YouTube, and then I'm going to get back to work. And then I will catch you at tea time when my tea's getting cooked for me. It's time to head downstairs and see if tea is ready. How are we getting on?
Yeah, good.
My tea gone, and then the last thing I have is just one of these little dark chocolates. I always finish a day pretty much with some chocolate, but dark chocolate for a reason, because it's less moreish. And to me, when I'm having like 10 to 25 grams of dark chocolate, that's enough for me. Whereas if I was going to have 10 to 25 grams of milk chocolate, that just wouldn't hit the spot, but this definitely does. So that's a big tip from me. If you know you want to have something like this every single day, track that in first, then reverse engineer your whole day. That way you're still getting to the end of the day and able to fit something like this in, instead of thinking to yourself, oh, I might not fancy it, not having it, using all your calories up, and then inevitably you do fancy it and then you can't fit it in. So I definitely do that first and then reverse engineer your day. So that's all my food from me, and I'll wrap up the video once I've finished this. So that's it, a wrap on my first proper YouTube video. And I will do a full day of eating on a training day if people want to see that. And I am going to do some training videos and some training with client videos. Also, I'm off to New York on the 1st of May. So I'm going to do a lot of food reviews and stuff like that. So hopefully you enjoyed it today. If you have got any questions, just pop them in the comments and I'll get back to you pretty sharpish. I just also wanted to touch on kind of activity for today. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I don't do cardio on a Wednesday. I don't train on a Wednesday. It is a rest day. But I do steps, and I did say between 12.5 to 15. I usually go top end. Well, I did hit 15,228, and I'm not going to be doing much more now. So it's a case of just wrapping up some work now. I usually try to finish work around 7:30, put my phone away, making sure I've got like a bit of downtime before I go to sleep. Otherwise, I'll get in bed and I won't sleep. So that downtime is so important. And then all my food and everything for tomorrow is already planned out, like I said before. So it's a case of just getting up, having my pre-workout, hitting the gym, and then everything is ready for me for the rest of the day. I am actually off to the hairdressers tomorrow, so I've had to plan that as well. Because like you've seen today, some things I can kind of cook on the spot, being at home and working from home. But there are times where I do have to take food with me. So if anyone is struggling with that side of things and you need assistance there, just let me know. Because most of my clients do have to take food with them. So I understand that, like work from home, yeah, it might look easy to kind of just cook on the go. But trust me, I've been there. I've been someone who's had to prep food, and I do prep food anyway. And I do take it traveling as well if I want to. And most of my clients do. It just takes a little bit more planning and just making sure you're prepped in advance. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Remember, if you did, hit the little bell so you're notified kind of when the next video goes up, and you subscribe. That just massively helps me, and I really enjoy making it. It was a bit of cluster, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it is quite hard to do YouTube and your full-time job, but I'm sure I'll get better at it, and hopefully it was all worthwhile and you all took something from it. So hopefully you all have a good rest of the day, and I'll see you on the next video.